The Bible prepper Everett Triplett has just completed a 6-part video series that is based upon his books, You Can Survive World War III and Imminent EMP. Be a Survivor. The books can be purchased on Amazon. Everett, can you go into some more details about your new video series?
Well, yeah, I'm very much motivated to explain to people how urgent these times are. We're watching the prophecies coming, talking about the end of the age. So I did have a filming company contact me, and I did spend quite a bit of money. We're going to show you 3 5-minute segments. Actually, they're doing 6 of them, but it shows you what the prophecies say, how the world we're watching changing is actually described in the Bible by Jesus. Like in Matthew 24, he says, when the disciples asked him, when will the end come? He said, when you see nations rising against nations, like we're watching, it's the beginning of the birth pains. And they asked him, tell us when. He said, he answers, and I'm very dialed in on that answer. When will these things happen? The answer is it's happening right now. People are not aware of it. It even says in Matthew 24 that they're not going to be aware of it. They'll all be busy buying, selling, building, planting, bearing, giving measure up to the day that a sudden disaster is coming. But there's winds that are being provided. When summer's near is one, and this is getting very close to summer now. And we're reaching the end of May. And so these videos are very accurate biblically. I show you what the scriptures say. Jesus said in Matthew 24, when summer's near, it's right at the door. No one knows the day or the hour. And what it is the coming of the Son of Man, which is called the day of the Lord, which is this day of sudden disasters coming. And the prophecies are all confirming that it's going to be the beginning of a war. It's the 4 horsemen that are released from the seals breaking open. And when they're coming is when summer's near. It's at the doors, kind of like the month or the season. And these videos are going to go through all this information, and they're very powerful. It's artificial intelligence videos showing a lot of pretty amazing job they did. But all I'm here to do is to try to explain to people that how much God loves us. He wants us to know what's coming. Just like he told Noah 100 years before the flood, he needs to build the ark. Get ready, a flood's coming. God has appointed me as a watchman. My job is to warn people that there is this day of sudden disaster coming. The Matthew 24, Jesus said it's a time of distress, unequal since the beginning of the foundations of the earth until then. Meaning, we are going to be facing the most difficult period of time in the history of mankind. But because we are going to be going into that, God is telling us food's going to be scarce. Ezekiel 4 is telling you to store up the food, get ready for it. It says, tell the righteous it'll be well with them. But another win that I'm concerned about is kind of fits what President Trump already announced. A global organization he formed called Board of Peace, where 28 member nations, each paying $1 billion to be a member, come together to talk about world peace. And that fits a win in 1 Thessalonians 5:3. It says, concerning the times and the seasons, it says, you know perfectly well. I go, what? How many things do you know perfectly well? You're told the day you were born, and you were there the day you were born, but do you know perfectly what day that is? You're just taking other people's telling you that's what day it was. But here it says, you know perfectly well the day of the Lord is coming when the people say peace and safety. The sudden destruction is coming, like labor pains on a pregnant woman. Same as Matthew 24, nations rising are the beginning of the labor pains. And so the Board of Peace is a huge global organization. Some are comparing it to the forming of the United Nations. Anyway, there's a win there. And I'm aware of another when in Isaiah 31. It says, "Woe to you, O destroyer, you who've never been destroyed." It says, when you stop destroying, you will be destroyed. And I know it's talking about this time coming where it says people in the same chapter, people are burned to lime. That's a human being turned into a pile of white dust. It says highways are deserted. There's no travelers on the road. Everything comes to a standstill, which is the effect of nuclear bombing creates the electromagnetic pulse that stops all the computers and all the traffic, and nothing moves. So all this information fits what we're watching right now. It can be that we're watching all these particular prophetic passages are fitting into like woe to the destroyer. Trump said he like bombed Iran, 5,000 bombings or something. We bombed it. We sunk their navy. He says it's all over. We won. We won. Keeps saying how we won in Iran, but it's over. But basically we're stopping in Iran because there's nothing left to do to them. And I'm saying that seems to fit where we are right now, meaning the year 2026 appears to me to be the year, because Matthew 24 says no one knows the day or the hour. It doesn't say you don't know the week, and the week is from the moon. It says the moon will not give light. Well, it's a 28-day cycle. It repeats 4 phases over and over. Out of the 4 phases, the one phase of the new moon doesn't give light. And we're passing through the phase of new moon right now. So June 14th, 17th, I don't know, somewhere around and before summer, there's a new moon. It's the bear. The armies are coming from the north. The day of the Lord in the chapter 2 of Joel's a large and mighty army comes. There's never been one like it before. It's an army from the north, but God uses it to turn our country back to Him. Because God has a good plan. This world's full of wickedness, and it says God's coming to judge the world and rid the world of the wicked. And it says, tell the righteous it will be well with them. And so this is God's plan to make our world a better place. We're heading into a new age. There'll be no more war. And it says that in Isaiah 2. Anyway, these 3 artificial intelligence videos cost a pretty penny to make. I hope you enjoy them. And we're going to have 3 more next week because they're still editing them and improving them a little bit. And they've been through a lot of trouble to create, and they're biblically descriptive of the prophecies and what we're watching happening, with the instructions to God's people to prepare for what's coming so that we will be able to endure and escape the troubles that are coming. Because it says, my people will dwell in peaceful places, in secure dwellings, and growing their seed, planting their seeds by the stream, and letting their livestock run free. It says that woe to the wicked. It says cities are going to burn. Sodom and Gomorrah is an example of what's going to happen. 2 Peter 2:6. And so cities are going to burn. It's going to be nuclear. But the 4 horsemen are only affecting 1/4 of the earth, because the 32 NATO members occupy the North Atlantic. That's 1/4 of the earth. And it's one group of nations attacking the other. It's in Ezekiel 38, calls them Gog, Magog, Meshech, Prince of Rosh. Rosh is Russia. This Persia will be with them. Many nations. Persia's Iran. So these nations, they're planning a knockout punch. Like in a boxing match, one fighter can suddenly get knocked out, goes unconscious, nothing's moving. That's what an EMP does. It stops the economy, stops everything from moving. And it's called having your lights punched out. It takes out the power grid. And so we're going to suffer a knockout punch, but it does say we recover. The Lord returns. We return to the Lord as a result. It has a beneficial effect. At the same time, it removes the wicked from among us. The righteous, it says they put an end to sin. In Daniel 9, It's appointed, a time is appointed to God's people to put an end to sin, to finish with transgressions, and to usher in everlasting, that's a long time, everlasting righteousness is coming. The future's going to be beautiful and it's going to be amazing because that's what birth pains do. I told the guy I'm working for today, I said, I'm telling him all this stuff. I go, one reason I'm talking to you right now is because one of the reasons I get across you, because a long time ago, there was this certain woman who had a very bad day. I'm talking about your mama. She had birth and out you came. You came into the world on that day. And then look, here you are. You're like 60. He was 60 some years old. And I go, so the birth pains produce life. That's what they do. There may be pain involved, and we will have to endure the pain, but that is going to be, the results are going to be worth it. New life is coming. God has a plan, and it's going to be amazing to see his kingdom of heaven is coming to the earth. And so enjoy these artificial intelligence videos. I really appreciate it when people comment and click like and subscribe, of course, but I enjoy the comments very much. I look for them, and I hope you'll leave some comments. And it would be nice to, because I feel encouraged when people tell me they appreciate the trouble we went through to do this stuff. So there's this multiple wins. When summer's near, when the destroyer stops destroying, when they say peace and safety. Another indicator I'm watching right now, they're saying we're having a severe drought. In the last 100 years, we have not had a spring. January, February, March, April, the first part of 2026 in the United States, we are having the most severe, driest season ever recorded, which fits into Egypt. See, Egypt is an example. The Old Testament stories are examples for what the end is coming. And Egypt had 7 years of abundance, depicted by the dream of the Pharaoh with 7 abundant cows. 7 fat cows were consumed by 7 drought-stricken cows. And Joseph correctly told the Pharaoh there'll be 7 years of abundance, which Joseph stockpiled during that time. And then there were 7 years of drought. Right now, we're looking at severe drought. The Colorado River, the Mississippi River, a lot of rivers are dry, very dry. Reservoirs, Lake Mead that feeds the water to Las Vegas is very low. Okay, so I've got a phone number. I'd like to talk to people about this stuff. I welcome phone calls. My number's 775-444-1979. That was a good year. Give me a call. We'll talk about this stuff, or text that phone number. I don't carry the phone with me all the time, but I'm set that phone aside just for you to reach out.
They said, what part of the earth would look like this? The world they told you wasn't coming. Episode 1. In the year 2020, the founder of the World Economic Forum spoke to people at the World Economic Forum and warned of a cyber attack that would make COVID look like a minor inconvenience. In the year 2023, the 2-term retired President Barack Obama executive produced a film on Netflix called Leave the World Behind. A film about what the world would look like when a cyber attack occurs.
We are seeing ongoing cyber attacks across the country.
Something is happening, and I don't trust them.
Thousands of years ago, Isaiah prophesied that the highways would be deserted, that there would be no travelers on the roads. For centuries, people wondered what this meant. Now we know. It means the electromagnetic pulse has already fired. In every war throughout history, the side that loses its supply lines loses the war.
Crumbling down in Baltimore, the search and rescue efforts continue at this hour.
And now you're taking a live.
That is not a theory. It is basic military strategy. The supply lines of the United States are being systematically cut, not by accident, not by incompetence, by design. Ezekiel was among the brightest and best of his generation. God showed him things that were going to happen in the future. He described a whirlwind from the north, a great cloud of fire. Figures resembling living creatures moving like lightning, gleaming like burnished bronze, their wings touching in formation. What he saw, he described with the words he had.
A very cordial welcome.
On July 8, 2020, Klaus Schwab, founder of the World Economic Forum, stood before global elites and warned of a cyber attack that would bring a complete halt to power, transportation, and hospital services. He called COVID a small disturbance by comparison. A two-term former president of the United States, Barack Obama, dedicated his time to executive producing a film, Leave the World Behind, about the collapse of the modern civilization. Warnings have been given. The question is how prepared we are. Nuclear bombs that detonate at ground level and those detonated at high altitude both produce an electromagnetic pulse. But a high-altitude detonation sends the pulse outward across a far greater area. Cities burn. And simultaneously, every microprocessor on the grid is fried. The electromagnetic pulse travels at the speed of light. It fries every microprocessor on the grid simultaneously. No cars, no phones, no hospitals, no fuel, no refrigeration, no food supply, no delivery of supplies, no water pumps, no internet, no banking, no 911. Isaiah prophesied it. Highways deserted, cities leveled, brave men crying aloud in the streets. Paul called it sudden destruction, coming like a thief in the night. Jesus was asked, "When will this happen?" He answered by giving a lesson from the fig tree. When its twigs get tender and its leaves come out, you know that summer is near. Even so, when you see all these things, know that it is near. Right at the door, the leaves are out. That instruction only makes sense if you understand what's coming. This book will help you understand, and understanding is the first step toward being ready.
For centuries, the four horsemen were called symbols. For centuries, the four horsemen of the apocalypse have been treated as vivid symbols, poetic images of war, famine, and death. But what if John was doing exactly what Ezekiel did? What if he was describing real events in sequence, with physical precision, and we simply lacked the context to understand him? We no longer lack the context. The first seal opens. A white horse, the voice of thunder. Thunder is nature's only massive explosion sound. The white of the horse is the blinding white light that surrounded Ezekiel's cloud of fire. The rider has a bow, but no arrow is mentioned. The arrows are the missiles. This is a Pearl Harbor-style surprise nuclear attack, coming at night when summer is near, on 1/4 of the earth. The second seal opens. The red horse rides out, and its rider is given power to take peace from the earth, to make people kill each other. The red horse color is blood. 1/4 of the earth. 1/4, not the whole world. The Bible is precise. The four horsemen are given authority over 1/4 of the earth. Night and day divide the earth in half. Summer and winter divide it again. An attack at night when summer is near. That is an attack on 1/4 of the earth. That quarter is the NATO alliance, NATO. The third seal opens. The black horse's rider holds a scale. The EMP has stopped the power grid. Refrigeration fails. Food spoils. The mold is black. No banking. No ATMs. No fuel deliveries. No food deliveries. No highway traffic, because every vehicle with a computer is dead. Isaiah 33:8. The highways are deserted. A man's full day of labor will buy 1 quart of wheat. Those who stored food will have food. Those who did not will trade everything they have to get it. The fourth seal opens. The ashen horse, and its rider name is Death. The color of this horse is ash. Radioactive fallout dust, raining from smoke-filled skies. Those who breathe it in carry fire in their lungs. Deuteronomy warned of this thousands of years ago. The Lord will turn the rain of your land into dust and powder. It will come down from the skies until you are destroyed. This is not metaphor. This is nuclear winter, described by a prophet who had no word for uranium, only a description of what he saw. Isaiah 33:11. Your breath is like a fire that will consume you. Ezekiel 38:39. You will come from your place in the far north, you and many nations with you, a great horde, a mighty army. Persia will be with you. Persia is Iran. Jeremiah 6:39. Look, an army is coming from the land of the north. A great nation is being stirred up from the ends of the earth. In 2014, Vladimir Putin stood before the world and declared, "All systems of global collective security now lie in ruins. The entity that destroyed them has a name, the United States of America." He quoted the same word that Ezekiel used, whirlwind. He was not speaking poetically. The 4 horsemen ride on 1/4 of the earth. Within that quarter, 2/3 will perish. 1/3 will survive. The surviving third are those who were warned, who prepared, who called on his name. Jesus said, "When you see all these things, know that it is near, right at the door." We don't know the exact day or hour, but we are told we can know the season, when summer is near.
For generations, God has never destroyed the righteous with the wicked. He has always made a distinction. In Egypt, the plagues did not touch Goshen, where the God's people lived. In the days of Noah, one family entered the ark. In the destruction of Sodom, Lot was warned by angels to leave. The pattern is not luck. It is not favoritism. It is preparation combined with obedience. Combined with the grace of a God who takes no pleasure in the death of anyone. Amos 3:7. Surely the sovereign Lord does nothing without first revealing his plan to his servants, the prophets. The warnings and examples are written. They have been available for thousands of years. Isaiah 3:10. Tell the righteous, it will be well with them. They will enjoy the fruit of their deeds. The fruit of their deeds is the food they stored, the water they filtered, and the mountain they moved to before the highways went dark. The Bible gives a specific number, 390 days. Not a rough estimate, a precise figure for the length of the siege described in Ezekiel 4, the period of scarcity that follows the day of the Lord. Wheat, barley, beans, lentils, millet, spelt, long-lasting, storable, nutritious, obtainable now. 1 Corinthians 10:11 confirms, these stories were written as examples for those on whom the fulfillment of the ages has come. That is us. The instruction is, get 390 days of food before summer. The fallout descends and contaminates harvests and surface water in the lowlands. In the mountains, water springs from underground sources, protected by the earth above from contamination on the surface. The cities become uninhabitable due to radiation, not just violence, that lingers on the surface for weeks. Those who remain in the cities sheltering underground will run out of food. Those in the city will be devoured by famine and plague. The instructions are retreat to the mountains. Ezekiel 7:16. The survivors will escape to the mountains. Isaiah 32:18-20. My people will live in peaceful dwelling places, in secure homes. How blessed you will be, sowing your seed by every stream. Isaiah 26:20. Go, my people, enter your rooms and shut the doors behind you. Hide yourselves for a little while until his wrath has passed by. Just like the night of Passover in Egypt, the plague passed over. The Israelites stayed inside. They put the blood of the lamb on the doorpost and had the Passover meal, while 3 days of gross darkness covered the land. 1 Corinthians 10:11 tells us that these stories were written down as examples specifically for those upon whom the end of the age comes. That is us. Shelter in place, shut the door, wait for the wrath to pass. The 390-day siege does not last forever. It ends when the people pray and return to the Lord. Joel 2:12, even now, return to me with all your heart. God responds, Joel 2:19-20. I will drive the northern army far from you, pushing it into a parched and barren land. Surely the Lord has done great things. Be glad and rejoice. Isaiah 3:10. The righteous will enjoy the fruit of their deeds. The fruit of their deeds is the food they stored, the mountain they moved to, the door they shut, and the extra that they gave to those who arrived with nothing. Are you a sheep or a goat? Matthew 25 answers the question before you have to. Rid yourselves of all the offenses you have committed. Get a new heart and a new spirit. Why will you die?